Hello, my name is Morgan Gray, and welcome back to the Afrocentric podcast.
I am a living testimony. I could have been dead and gone, oh yeah, but Lord, you let me live on. I'm a living testimony. Oh, and I thank the Lord that I'm still alive. Sing it for me, Joe. Oh, yeah, I'm a living testimony. You know I could have been dead. Lord, you let me. Live on. I'm trying to tell you I am. Oh, I'm a living testimony. I thank the Lord.
We don't funk with racism. We don't funk with people who don't support the LGBTQ plus community. And baby, we damn sure don't funk with anybody who don't love a beautiful black queen, baby. You see this tape?
When they go low, I go lower.
You don't let nobody act black and then go home and be white.
I got 2 pistols and a pit bull. Me. That's all I need.
It only takes a little bit of white brainwash to activate the coon chip in the average Negro.
You think Harriet Tubman was walking around with a fucking nice shiny fucking dress on with a fucking crown on her head when she was taking slaves to freedom?
And a lot of white folk have demonstrated eloquently that they don't have no sense.
And we are back with the Afrocentric podcast. This episode is going to be a phenomenal episode. I'm really excited. The name of this episode is called The Hopes and the Dreams of the Slave. And it is featuring the incredible Porsha B. Porsha, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Porsha. I'm currently a student at Alcorn State University. I'm majoring in Human Development and Family Science. I have an associate's degree in biology from Copernican Community College. I have been a fellow with Julian, MS Vote, and Southern Poverty Law Center. I really focus on grassroots campaign advocacy for young women and mental health challenges for sexual assault survivors. And I also was a policy researcher and analyst for VTech Solutions.
Yeah, so if you didn't know, Porsha is the shit and she does this shit for real. Yeah. I met Porsha last summer at the Southern Poverty Law Center's Advocacy Institute, and it's been my bitch ever since. And I'm really excited. Okay, so in this episode, we will be talking about first generation college students and the way that they navigate in HBCUs as well as in PWIs, predominantly white institutions. I'm gonna give Porsha the platform so that she can reflect on the courageous actions of trailblazers like James Meredith or Ruby Bridges, Richard Holmes, and different black people who helped integrated predominantly white institutions. And then we'll go in and talk about our experiences as, you know, first generation college students. You know, I'm really excited. I said, who I'll talk to? I said, don't make me call Porsha.
Don't make me call Porsha.
So I got on the phone. I said, come on, bitch. Actually, me and Porsha have been trying to do this episode, record for about a year. So I'm glad I finally got her in the studio with us. I'm really excited. Is there anything you want to say before we jump into this conversation? All righty. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the next segment.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Ooh.
Damn.
Y'all killing me with this.
All righty. Now, we are going to play a little game, and it's America's favorite game. It is entitled Fight, Marry, Kill, African American Edition. Now, in this game, Porsha, I will be giving you 3 household names, and you're going to have to decide whether you want to fight them, if you want to marry them, or if you want to kill them. Are you ready? All right, Fight, Marry, Kill. Miss Jonetta, Queen Latifah, and 21 Savage. Fight, Marry, Kill.
Married 21 Savage.
Why?
Because he's cute. I like him.
Kids?
53.
Oh, okay. Beauty in the eye of the beholder. Yeah.
I like him a little ugly. Well, I like Chia Nettle. Miss Nettle.
Jonetta.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Jeeper Creeper. Don't do that, icon. The icon. She the icon. Her and Rolandis. They was at the BET Awards. They was.
So, thinking you talking about something else, I'm like, who the fuck is Joe Nettle? Miss Nettle.
Joe Nettle?
I killed Miss Nettle. How married? Wait. Fight Quail Teacher. I don't know.
Do you think you could win in a fight with Queen Latifah?
Oh, well. I wouldn't, man.
That's a whole lot of running. Now, if you killing Joe Nettle, my question to you is what is your weapon of choice?
Let's say poison.
Like that. That's great. Put it in a little food. She gonna leave.
To violate, I don't do violence, like, but she'll be gone.
It'll be all. Oh, you the exterminator. Okay, so you have decided to fight the stud, Queen Latifah. You will be you're gonna be marrying 21 Savage, that's powerful. And then you will be killing Jonetta Jeeper Creeper. And I'm glad that for you. That was excellent choice, decision making. And I just want to thank you so much for playing my favorite game, America's favorite game, Fight, Marry, Kill, African American Edition.
You can't finish college if you're taking your financial aid and paying your family's bills. I know you want to help now. Right. You want to be there. You can't save for yourself and buy your mother a house before you can pay your bills. Yeah. You know, you can't leap before you walk, right. You know, and especially for many of us who've never seen success or anything, we think we've arrived sooner than we have, you know, and we're trying to fix everybody else before we're steady, right? And especially for you guys in your 20s, I know there is pressure from people, help me fix this. Yeah. Can you do this? That's the armor and the boundaries of, whoa, wait, do I have my world together first? You know, am I really feeding me first? That's that mask on oxygen thing. That's true.
All right, Porsha. The first question of the afternoon is a personal experience question. So reflecting on your own journey as the first in your family to attend college, what were some of the most significant obstacles that you have encountered and how did you overcome them?
So the first obstacle that I encountered when started my journey at all point, I came in as a junior, 18 as a junior.
You're smart as fuck, girl.
I'm trying. I know it's a blessing, but like I didn't think about the financial aid. I mean, like even though I'm in state, all points still a lot of money. I got the most I could with a student loan, and we were trying to work out a payment plan to even get me in the door, and that was like really scary because I'm like, I really want to go to college, but we're low income. How am I gonna make this happen? So I would say welcome week, I went to the orientation with my friend Sanaya, and that's where I found out that they had $10,000 of scholarship money for any student in that department, and technically my major is under the ed department. So getting that scholarship was really a blessing, like even having extra to just play with as a college student, like on my own. I'm in the middle of nowhere, like what am I gonna do? But that was my first obstacle, and I'm really grateful for that scholarship. It was on my way, and it lasted until I leave school.
I did want to talk about, okay, so same as you, I'm a first generation college student. And the financial aid system as a whole was super intimidating when I first got into school, because it's like you had to have some type of insight knowledge just to be able to fill the fucking form out. And then, like when it came to like loans, like long loans, because I went to school based off of grants because I was also in-state. Like I had a hard time even trying to get my mama to sign any type of laws for me. She don't want to be responsible for that shit. You know what? I don't blame her, but I feel like that's a first generation college student type of problem, as well as like as a first generation college student, having access to so much money for the first time in your life, and then or you being the first graduate of your family and having access to more money because of your financial situation because you have a degree, right? It's like people back home expect you to have more money than them, to spend that financial aid money back into the household. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like when I realized I didn't have enough money to cover my study at all points, I feel like someone should have stepped in. Like, that was pressing on me the whole summer before I got to Alcorn. I feel like, well, my mom, the highest degree she got was her associates. I didn't know that, they can take out a Parent Plus loan. And I'm like, Mom, can you sign this loan? Let's see what's going on. We didn't get it. Why? Because my mom has too many student loans out. I'm like, are you serious? So I had to call Alcorn and be like, can y'all give me some more student loans, direct, unsub, anything. That didn't do anything. And once I got that scholarship and people found out, well, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but once some families started like knowing how much I'm making from work studies, internships, fellowship, it's like I can't give y'all money and support myself away from home too. Like, do you know how much gas costs? Do you know how much getting groceries costs? Like, that was just crazy to me. And then I'm a girl, like I have to keep myself up. I can't be supporting other people that's supporting myself.
You absolutely right. And I ain't heard you say nothing fucking wrong. And I went through the same thing, and I know how tough and difficult it is. I don't know. I feel like it's an experience that a lot of people that don't go through this like see, or like people kind of overlook it. I remember when I first got to college and realized that all the people that went to school with me, specifically, like, because I went to a PWI, you went to a HBCU, them white folks didn't have no jobs. They don't work. They parents fund every fucking thing. And I remember calling them back. My mom was like, you got to get a job. Well, bitch, I don't have a car. I'm going to get to and fro. And like, I'm telling my mom, like, Mom, ain't no, these folks up here ain't working. They just focusing on school. My mom was like, you got to get you a job. It was times when I was in college and I was working 2 and 3 jobs just to be able to make ends meet. And it still didn't feel like it was enough. And it was periods of times where I only survived off of coffee, like just walking around super hyper. And then I eventually graduated to Red Bulls. But I understand the type of stress and pressure and like not having the financial abundance that you would want in order to get what you need to get done. What's your next like obstacle you face?
It would definitely be the administration at all point, not like financial aid or anything, but my department. I was really bullied and blackmailed just last semester. Like, I got my department chair kicked off because she was hiding what was going on, what those professors were putting us through. And after that whole situation, I got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Like, the people in my department all pointing to go to jail.
They need to go to hell immediately.
Like, first, well, my biggest thing was they wanted me to present from research, and it wasn't my research. I'm like, y'all know this is plagiarism. Like, I'm not finna present something that y'all prepare for me in front of tens of hundreds of people. So,
and it's not my original work.
That goes against everything
your morality. Yes,
that's unethical. So they called me out of my practicum site well, they called everyone those impractical at that time out of the daycare center into just a little room in the department building. And they held us in there for like 30 minutes trying to force us to present some research. And that was like, what the fuck else y'all got going on? Y'all need to go present this research. And I'm like, oh, serious? Y'all sitting in here calling us out of our names, pressuring us to do something for y'all just to get your budget up. Yo, that's y'all problem. Y'all shouldn't bring us to us last minute.
Is that a reflection of like the lack of funds within HBCUs though? Not to discredit what you're going on, but that's a reflection of how like my school gets like money because it used to be like a farm school before it became like a public university. So we get a shit ton of money from the government. Most HBCUs get a limited amount.
Yes, I would definitely say my department, my major is definitely not looked upon because who even knows what human development is.
That's what I was seeing when I was in school for fashion.
Really? Oh yeah, it's a human science thing. Yeah, but I mean, at all point, my department is like 20 people. We all have like 3 professors. Who the fuck is going to give us money and we can't even get involved in it? So y'all are pressing on the seniors and juniors to do for y'all, but y'all are doing us wrong before we leave. Why would I recommend this program to somebody else so they can go through exactly what I'm going through? This I know, bro. Yeah, that was beyond me. That's why I really distanced myself from that department and changed my courses.
I don't blame you. You got to do what's right for your mental health. Because hell, when I was in college, I got diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and I started my medication for anxiety and depression like my senior year in college. Because you know what? I was doing the same thing you was doing, but I was so much older than you, and it was still weighing so heavy like on me mentally. I digress.
And then it's like, I try to explain my emotions to my parents, but they don't understand. Like, they like, why is it upsetting so much? But we get it's upsetting, so we're going to stand behind you. But it really upsetting because I felt like the professor was supposed to be my mentor. It's like, why are you doing something? That really broke my heart. And like, I took that situation to the highest person I could find on campus. And we have definitely seen some changes on campus in the department.
I love it. We love seeing Black women making moves.
I'm very grateful because that was just ridiculous.
Good. I know it. What's your next obstacle?
I would say the lack of guidance. I didn't know that college is going to be anything like this.
Same. I remember when I first got to college, I didn't have a lot. I didn't have everything that I had for my dorm, I bought for myself. All my clothes came from the thrift store. I couldn't afford anything. And again, because I went to a PWI, I was with the uppity Negroes with and the Negro peons, and they came from money. I'm sure it's not at the same exact level that the Negro peons at Ole Miss were like, but they were still very uppity. So I got judged a lot for how I dressed, but also lack of guidance as well. I didn't know what to do, for a long time. I remember finding out at the end of my first semester in college that I had a hold on my account. And I go into my advisor's office and I'm just boo-hoo crying. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And then Joker looked at me and said, you need to satisfy the loan. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that means. Satisfy the loan. So, learning who to go see and what building those connections with them. You gotta meet people that genuinely actually care and not people that are there just to get a paycheck or something. So I understand definitely. I also didn't have no fucking laptop in school from 2015 until the pandemic hit in 2020. I didn't have a laptop. I was either in a computer lab or I was doing my work on my phone via Google Docs, right? So, it'll be times I'll be sitting in class taking notes on my phone and a professor would get upset because they think I'd be on my cell phone. And I'm like, no, I'm taking notes because I don't have access to a computer. And it wasn't until we started getting that COVID money that I actually had enough money to buy my first laptop ever. So, and we also we didn't even have Wi-Fi in my house during the pandemic. So there were times where like we had the lockdowns in Starkville and we had a curfew. So we had to be back inside of the house at 8 o'clock at night. So I would drive out to AT&T like they build and they offered parking lot Wi-Fi. And I would sit in my car and do all my work on my laptop, do meetings on my laptop and scurry home before the curfew, or I'd be at my job because it like until 12 o'clock. I would also be in the union. That's, the student union where people eat in my office until the union closed at 12 p.m. doing work. So like, it's just a lack of guidance, a lack of support, and a lack of an access to resources.
Yeah, I feel like if you are a first-gen college student and you want to like do better, see better for your family, for yourself, you have to have that drive, that initiative, because we know it can get very stressful. Like, I'm doing this all on my own. No one
can understand what you're going through.
No one is reading information that I'm reading. No one is trying to get to the level that I want to be at. This is a first time for everybody. So like, I feel like me and my family, my parents have to like meet each other
in the middle.
Yes, because you'll never know what I'm going through.
So my granddaddy, he was forced to drop out of high school in 8th grade. He was a sharecropper. So then he had his litter of kids. He had 7 kids. Only 3 of them went to college. But like in my direct lineage, they told my mama she wasn't going to college. So she just worked. So when I came through, I was the first one to go to college. And it's just like, it's not even like you true, like ain't got no clue. Yeah, I heard hundreds of times that I should just drop out and work. Like, you need to get a job at Wendy's. You need to get a job at Sonic. You need to like da-da-da-da. And it's like no lack or regard for like what I had going on and what I was doing. So, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and another thing, like, once your family knows what you're going to school for and they don't really get your major, they will pressure you to change it. Like, just this past weekend, I kept hearing, well, what are you going to do in public health? In public health, what is public health? I don't get it. And it's like, if you don't go to college, you won't know some of these titles, some of these jobs that are out there. Like, public health is a high-paying job, and we need more Black people in it. So that was really my drive to want to go back to school, in grad school for that. And I really want to like bring more help, more services to my community. So it's all about like going out to get that education, give the money. And I just really want to bring it back to Natchez. And yeah.
My wife, our First Lady, Michelle Obama, she has a similar story. Neither of her parents had gone to college, and they didn't have a lot of money. But they worked hard, and she worked hard so that she could go to the best schools in this country. Some of you might not have those advantages. Maybe you don't have adults in your life who give you the support that you need. Maybe someone in your family has lost their job and there's not enough money to go around. Maybe you live in a neighborhood where you don't feel safe or have friends who are pressuring you to do things you know aren't right. There is no excuse for not trying.
So, Porsha, can you share some of your thoughts on the experiences of the first Black students who integrated predominantly white institutions in the South? This is like on a high school level as well as on a collegiate level. And how do you think that their struggles and triumphs have paved the way for current Black students?
On both a high school and collegiate level, I would say they put us in the door to like let these other races know that we aren't ignorant. We can do the same work that you're doing, plus more. So especially on a high school level, some of these Black people don't know about in the college program. Like, that's what I went to, and I'm really grateful for that, because the school district is paying for your associate's degree. It can't get no better than it. So you just have to go there and do the work. But as like a Black student, I feel like if you want to get a true education, you have to choose the best neighborhood. And we all know what neighborhoods those are. So I feel like by attending more like white uppity schools, wherever you want to call it, you will get the best education because they are always there for their people. They're going to give you the resources that you need, but Black people, there's going to get you in the door so that they can make a check, especially on a collegiate level. That's how I feel. But I wouldn't, I'm lying, I would transfer school if I could, because I feel like even though all parties of HBC, they stand for nothing like togetherness. There's nothing, I would say, like, not to put Alcorn down, but there definitely needs to be a change, administration, everything, because these people from the civil rights era did everything that they could to even get us this education. So why are we trying to take it for granted? Like, y'all aren't here doing the work. Y'all aren't trying to put our people. Y'all are just sending us back and back and back. And the only thing that they look at these Black schools for is sports, and it's really sad to me because some schools have great programs, but they'll never know because people keep saying negative things about these Black schools. Why would we do that? And they were made just for us. They were made for Black people to further other Black people.
Yes, I completely agree with you. Like right now, we are sitting at Jackson State University, and you are absolutely right. Now people think of Jackson State, what do they think of? Football team. Because a girl and the Sonic Boom, and I feel like that is the Sonic Boom is the heart of the South, and I love that for them. Now, when we're talking about like historical integrations, number one, I wanted to ask you this question: when you think about like these activists going into these institutions and helping desegregate it, like, do you think that was the right choice for us, or do you feel like we should have stayed segregated?
Since you got your degree and you know every fucking thing.
Tell the truth and shame the devil now.
I feel like we should remain segregated because we create these spaces for us because we see that we weren't welcome in their spaces. So why would we try to like even want to go somewhere where we're not welcome? That, I mean, it's not crazy to me, but I get like the whole equality thing, but still, like, Black people, we're so far behind. They had centuries to get in front of us. Why would we go to join them when we can have our own thing going?
It wasn't until they integrated us into those schools that we started falling behind. Like, we got mixed into the pot, and like they really did not care about us, so they pushed us farther and farther back. Now, my boss, she was a young girl during the desegregation of school, and she talked about how her daddy was a school counselor. So, like, you know, there were predominantly Black colleges and, you know, and schools and high schools throughout like Mississippi or whatever. So while they were getting ready to integrate schools, like, those Black teachers gave a fuck about their students for real. So like, she was telling me about how her dad would take them as a group to different parts of the state to get them tested regularly to make sure that they were at the level or surpassing the level of like education and intellect that they needed in order for them to be justifiably ready to integrate within those schools, right? And I feel like that love to make sure that our communities and the people within our communities are being successful and compared to who is the elite now is gone for real.
Yes. My parents were born in 1963, and that was definitely the civil rights era. And my dad never made it past 8th grade. He went on to be a construction worker. My mom, she didn't get her associates until she was like 48. That was really my drive to like want to go further in school because they never got the access to the materials that I have now.
I'll tell you this. Okay, so we all know about like the historical debate between W.E.B. Du Bois and who was that light-skinned nigga? Booker T. Washington, right? So we all know about the talented 10 W.E.B. Du Bois, but he was up north, right? He was in Chicago. He was in New York. Booker T. Washington was in Georgia, and he represented the Negroes of the South, right? And it was pushed during that time period that African Americans still need to be able to work with their hands. They still needed to get trades, something like a construction worker. So I feel like if we view that perspective, not from a Eurocentric perspective, but from an Afrocentric perspective, that's still super applaudable because he has a skill. And oftentimes when I think about people with trades, I be envious because them motherfuckers be making money out the gate. Like a nigga know how to wire a house, fix a toilet, goddamn break a house up and down. You got more money than anything, or work on an oil rig. And I'm sitting up here doing these damn internships that last 6 months, and then I'm out of a job again. So, like, it's still very commendable, and I want to, like, not you, but help other people to, like, decenter from that type of mindset because it's an accomplishment, and it's needed, and it's, like, overly needed now because niggas don't want to get trades no more. I got a girl right now that know how to wire a whole house up and down. Yeah, I love that for her.
If this school thing wasn't going with her, I definitely would have went and got my CEO.
I think I could drive me a truck too.
Definitely like this. Then the programs don't even be that long. Why am I in school for 4 years and they're working in like 6 weeks? That's very crazy to me.
It is crazy to me too, girl. Now we're gonna talk about some of the characters and who have helped integrated all these different institutions throughout the South. So the first group I wanted to talk about was the Little Rock Nine.
The Little Rock Nine were a group of 9 black students who enrolled in the formerly all-white Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas in September 1957. Their attendance in the school was a test of Brown versus the Board of Education that had declared segregation in public schools unconstitutional. In the fall of 1957, in response to the Brown decision, African Americans in the NAACP in Little Rock pressured the school board and they adopted a plan for gradual integration of their school. The first institutions that would be integrated would be the high schools, beginning in September 1957, among them being Little Rock Central High School. 9 black students registered to be the first African Americans to attend Central High School: Minnie Jean Brown, Elizabeth Eckford, Ernestine Green, Mother Mothershid, Mabel Platillo, Gloria Ray, Terrence Roberts, Jefferson Thomas, and Carlotta Walls. September 1957, Governor Orville Flavus announced that he would call in the Arkansas National Guard to prevent the African-American students from entry into Central High School, claiming that the action was for the students' own protection, stating they were here to maintain and restore order. In a television address, Flavus insisted that violence and bloodshed would break out if the black students were allowed to enter the school. The Little Rock Nine were warned by the school board not to attend on the first day. The 9 black students arrived on the second day, accompanied by a small group of ministers. In addition, about 270 of Arkansas National Guard sent by Governor Flavus to block the entrance into the school, and a white mob was in front of the school shouting, throwing stones, and threatening to kill the students. The confrontation of the Little Rock Nine drew international attention to racism and civil rights in the United States, as well as the battle between federal and state power. Television and newspaper reports devoted substantial coverage to the Little Rock Nine, as they had come to be called, and President Dwight Eisenhower, Governor Flavus, and Little Rock's mayor, Woodrow Mann, discussed the situation over the next 18 days, during which the 9 students stayed home. The students then returned to high school on September 23rd, entering through a side door with a mob of 1,000 angry protesters outside. Amidst the ensuing riot and the fearing for the lives of the 9 black students, school officials sent the students home. They managed to attend class for just 3 hours. Dwight Eisenhower, in turn, sent in the 101 Airborne Division to Little Rock, Arkansas, and placed the Arkansas National Guard under federal command to protect the students. Troops remained in Little Rock through the entire 1957-1958 school year. At the end of the school year, after troops were withdrawn, however, Governor Flavus would close Little Rock's public high schools for the entirety of the 1958-1959 school year. This period would be known as the lost year.
I just kind of find it interesting because, like, when people be like, racism doesn't exist and stuff, and then you think about this, that's 1957. There was not that fucking long ago, right? Where they could just go to high school. This doesn't even include, like, paying money for colleges and stuff. Like, what are your thoughts about that, the process, the violence that they faced?
I feel like since they did this all in high school, I feel like it was very needed because high school is where you learn the main information that you need to even get into college, basic algebra, basic English. So I feel like they were very brave to take that step to even like want better materials, better resources that the white school should have provided, knowing better books, better desks, better anything. They did it, so we didn't have to, because that was very scary. I really couldn't have done anything like that. I would have definitely just held on at the black school. Honestly.
And it reminds me of Ruby Bridges, right? Mm-hmm. So, Ruby was probably like 5 or 6 when she integrated a school. She integrated the Williams Pratt Elementary School in New Orleans, right? And her parents didn't even tell her that's what she was doing. Yes, so she went in that school and she had absolutely no idea that she was finna integrate it. And since she was living in New Orleans, by the way, Ruby Bridges is from Tylertown, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. So like she was out there, and we've all seen those iconic pictures of like the mob of white people out there screaming, spitting, throwing stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And she thought that it was Mardi Gras.
Look at that picture. So many of us, like I said, either grew up with it, we learned about you in history. Tell me what you remember about that day.
Oh my God. I had already gone to school, so I thought I knew what to expect until that day. But living in a city like New Orleans and, going through Mardi Gras every year, I actually thought it was Mardi Gras that day.
Oh. Well, because it was the activity?
The crowds, they were screaming and yelling and throwing things. And my parents never explained to me what I was about to venture into.
That it was because you were going into the school.
Exactly.
They probably couldn't even imagine.
They couldn't even imagine. And I think, in hindsight, what protected me was the innocence of a child.
Yes.
And
perhaps if you had known, it would have been so daunting.
Oh my God, I don't know how I would have felt about it all.
She thought it was Mardi Gras because it was huge crowds of people out there throwing stuff like beads, and they were congregated all out there, and they had no clue. But I think it's also interesting to see how they were treated once they did integrate. Like Ruby was in a classroom all by herself. And that's also something that we'll talk about with Richard Holmes, who helped integrate Mississippi State down in Starkville. And like even with the Little Rock 9, they're still alive. Ruby Bridges is still alive. And they did the Little Rock 9 did an interview like in 2005 on Oprah.
Central High in 1957. I was saying before the break that in difference, many of the people who stood by and did absolutely nothing were contributors to a lot of the hatred that went on. Gene, what do you want to say about that?
Well, I had, Melba, you were in my homeroom, and I did see thumbtacks put on your chair, and Ernest, I was in your gym class. And I saw the results of your gym clothes when someone had urinated through the vents on your clothes. I did witness the wet towels that were tied in knots. I was 15, 16 years old, and most of these kids, you can't see past your nose. And you don't understand, or you don't realize what impact this is going to have on future generations. You react to a situation. And
did you feel badly then doing nothing?
I felt bad because we're all people. I was going to school with friends who I had gone to elementary, junior high with. I did not understand then why you all wanted to come to Central High School, why you would want to leave your friends, things that you knew, that you were comfortable with, why you would even want to be with me. there were 1,800 kids in that high school.
It wasn't about being with you, Gene. It was about getting...
Hello.
It really wasn't.
When I say me, I'm talking about 1,800.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I think that's you give me an opportunity to make a good point
Right.
here. It wasn't about we just want to be with white kids. It was
Right.
about being able to have the facilities and the books and an equal education.
Right.
And they were talking to their white peers in this setting, and they were talking about how sorry they were and how as they got older, they looked back on it and saw the way they treated those non-black students, and they were, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? They were ashamed of themselves, for real. But there's also, I feel like, another reason why people be trying to hide this type of information from us, because, like I said, it wasn't that long ago. Those people are still alive, and those people are other people's grandparents. Like, those are actual people who displayed that type of hatred to children. And I don't think people really understand that or like let that like see. Ruby was a young girl, little black girl that we're supposed to have empathy and patience with small black children.
Yes, I feel like they keep saying get over it. It wasn't that long ago. 1957, my parents were born in 1963. That isn't even that long. And to even hate someone so much just because of their skin color that you want to let them into the same setting as them still doesn't click in my mind, because we are all human. We all need the same necessities to live. So why can't we be human and be kind to other people? Like, it would put us so far ahead if we can just
see people as human.
Yes.
Empathy is not a common trait that a lot of people possess, and it's because you have to have a shit ton of emotional intelligence in order to be empathetic. And as you see, they did not have that. Also, I feel like these black students were so highly educated, if they were put in the same room, those white students would have been put to shame. Another story. So, again, my boss was telling me that when they did integrate the schools and she attended, she said that they weren't allowed. Okay, so if the teacher asked a question, you all raise your hand, a white student would answer. If the white student was wrong, as a black student, you wouldn't have been able to come behind them and correct them or say that they were wrong. You just had to just shut up and let them be wrong or allow the teacher to correct them. It was just like, it's not just that they integrated those schools, is that they also, how much they could damage someone's psyche, like someone's self-esteem and mental wellness. It was, in some cases, turmoil, but, the approach was different. And Ruby was talking about how she don't know how that would have impacted her mental health had she had known that she was finna go and do something so historical, because even as a child, I read the story of Ruby Bridges. I had the book. So, it's just kind of crazy to see stuff like that, for real.
Yeah.
You want to talk about James Meredith?
James H. Meredith is formally enrolled at the University of Mississippi, ending one chapter in the federal government's efforts to desegregate the university. The town of Oxford is an armed camp, following riots that accompanied the registration of the first Negro in the university's 118-year history. Much of this film record was destroyed when our cameraman, Gordon Yoder, was attacked, but he did salvage pictures of Governor Ross Barnett at the scene. The governor fought the court order long and bitterly before modifying his stand, saying Mississippi was overpowered by the federal government. President Kennedy appealed to the students and to the people of the state to comply peacefully with the law and bring the crisis to an end. Even as he talked, riots were breaking out in Oxford.
Americans are free and sure to disagree with the law, but not to disobey it. For in a government of laws and not of men, no man, however prominent or powerful, and no mob, however unruly or boisterous, is entitled to defy a court of law. If this country should ever reach the point where any man or group of men, by force or threat of force, could long deny the commands of our court and our Constitution, then no law would stand free from doubt. No judge would be sure of his writ, and no citizen would be safe from his neighbors.
Nearly 6,000 troops patrol Oxford to maintain order, and arrests mount to more than 200 as smaller disturbances erupt the next day. Former Major General Edwin Walker, who came here from his home in Texas, is put under arrest and held in high bail on charges of inciting insurrection. He was flown to a federal prison hospital as relative calm settled on the town in the greatest crisis the South has faced since the Civil War.
So, James Meredith is the man that helped integrate Ole Miss. Did you ever hear about that?
I heard about it. I've seen pictures.
What did you see in the pictures?
I want to say I saw him standing under some arch at the door. Yes, those are all pictures that I've saw.
So, like, okay. So, James Meredith integrated the University of Mississippi. It's also known as Ole Miss. And it was in January of 1961. That's when he applied. And he was denied because of, quote, administrative technicalities. But through the support of the NAACP, James Meredith filed a lawsuit. And after the legal battle, the Supreme Court ruled in his favor in 1962. So it was a huge deal because he's not a young child. He was a grown man. This is during the presidency of JFK Jr., right? So he was the reason why these black students could go into these schools. And the governor of Mississippi during that time was Ross Barnett. And he fought that shit tooth and nail. And even to this day, the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, is predominantly Caucasian. It is snowing out there all year round. Okay, they be on the ski slope. So, when he integrated that school, I believe the Klan was out there. I know for a fact that they were burning crosses out there, and like his integration story is so different from Richard Holmes' integration story. That's the black man who integrated Mississippi State University, but it caused like James Meredith's integration of Ole Miss. It led to riots on the campus. They had federal marshals and troops deployed to ensure his safety. And he was able to register the class on October 1st in 1962. And he did end up getting his degree. Now, on the other hand, like I said, Richard Holmes, he integrated Mississippi State in 1965. So that's 3 years after Meredith got to Ole Miss, right? So, the thing that's so interesting about Mr. Holmes' integration is the fact that it was very peaceful. Like, he was 21, he was from Starkville, and when he enrolled summer class, team had no goddamn problem. That he said, quote, there were no catcalls, no racial slurs, it was quiet and it was serene, nothing happened. There was a curiosity and disbelief. I feel like that has a reflection of like the type of students that attend at school. Like, I feel like Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi, has a reputation of like being those wealthy, the descendants of slave owners, like they owe money. So like all that shit is in the family, is passed down. Mississippi State was an agricultural based school, so that's farmers. Those are a little poorer, but they still white. And if it's not white, it ain't right. But still, Richard Holmes talked a lot about how when he was in his school, he took all his classes by himself, same as River Bridges. Even up to the day that he graduated, he was by himself. But it was still a blessing that it was a peaceful integration. And that man is still alive to this day. And luckily for me, I was a part of the Holmes Cultural Diversity Center at Mississippi State. I ran an organization under the Holmes Cultural Diversity Center. Shout out to Mississippi State's Ideal Woman. But like, he still comes and speaks to us. Joker old and dirt, neck sagging to the ground, but we still grateful for what he did. Because if he hadn't did it, then well, where would I be? Yeah. But the numbers still don't reflect. Imagine being in the state of Mississippi and we have the highest black population out of any other state in the union, and yet only 13%, and this is before COVID, of the population in Mississippi State is African American. That's representative of the African American population as a whole in America. So it's such a small minority. And even so, we still have issues with racism, self-segregation. They still have them sorority houses that are very, very similar to plantation homes. And I know it's different because you went to a HBCU, so you didn't have to see them white folks every day like I had to see them white folks every day.
And even like the area that Alcorn is in, those are mainly like Black cities. Like seeing a white person on campus is like seeing a unicorn.
You know what? And I'm so glad you brought that up because a lot of people argue when it comes to HBCUs. They be upset because HBCUs will give their scholarships to white people, but they won't give their scholarships like that to Black people. And it's like, them white folks, they didn't give me no scholarship to be Black to go to Mississippi State, so why are you doing all that to get them up in there so they can do a mediocre job?
Yes, and some of the scholarships that I was seeing recently, they say minority, but once you read the description, their description of minority
is a white woman. They don't have them white women no more. You know what? They want them Africans. That's what them Africans, they be deep at them PWIs, girl.
Really?
Yes. My last 2 African boyfriends I met on campus, boo. Yes, honey. But they get up in there and do their jobs, especially for them grad programs. They be super smart. But now I ain't never thought about no Asians going, what they want to be at a HBCU for.
Exactly. Like, I get that we're all brown skinned, but I don't get it. That's not really a minority if you...
They a minority. I don't like it when they throw white women in there as a minority mixed in with all of us. They considered a minority because they're a woman. This the intersectionality. They minorities. They at the top. They the best minority out there though. And then right up under there's them Asian folks. But I just feel like if it weren't for these groups of people, and there are so many other examples of Black people going into predominantly white institutions, going through grave hardships as a way to help integrate them and to help normalize Blackness in these spaces that are culturally white and have been for a historically long time. If it weren't for them, again, they are the hopes and dreams of the slaves. If they weren't for them, we wouldn't be in the positions that we're sitting in now. And I'm forever grateful for that.
This Negro girl came here alone today to try and attend Central High. She's been the target of an angry, screaming mob that has followed her.
We don't want you here. Go back to Africa.
Leave her alone. Stop it. She's just a child. We don't want It's all right now. You're safe, dear. I'll take you home. Thank you.
What are some of the unique challenges and advantages you have faced as a first-generation Black college student at both private and public universities? And how did these experiences differ between the two types of institutions?
I can't speak personally for the PWI standpoint.
Do your thing.
But some of the advantages that I have came across at Alcorn would be the opportunity to support Black students. Like the program that I'm currently in, the Magnet Scholars, it's just for first gen or just a Black student. They will support us all the way up until we get our PhD. They're currently providing me housing. I get money just to go meet with my mentor to put together a research plan. What else? On campus, I'm in student support services. That is a very good mentorship program for a first-year student, because I don't know what to expect from these teachers. I don't know how to do my schedules. They showed me all that. They also give you grant money if you have an unmet financial need. What else? A unique challenge I would say that I faced would definitely be that bullying type of thing in my department, because who is bullied by their professor?
Oh, I'm too old to get bullied. That one thing about me, baby. I stand on that. You show your ass me, I'm gonna show mine right back.
Definitely. That was very eye-opening to me, because they really showed me that even though these adults are overly, they can still be challenged. They can still be immature. So it's up to me to know that it's not me, it's them.
You know what? I saw this case study of they lined these teachers up, and then they presented them with their line of students, right? Different races, genders, sexuality, so on and so on, right? And they were asked to guess their GPA, like their class ranking and stuff. And like, there's this one particular instance where this white teacher sees this black guy, and she's like, you have a 2.3, 2.0. You're probably in school for kinesiology, and it turned out that he had a 4.0. And then there was this white girl, and a white male was the teacher that was trying to do the investigation on her, and he was like, you probably have like a 4.0. And she was like, no, I have a 2.0. Getting up and going to class is so hard.
I was passing my grades, so don't get it fucked up, don't get it missed through school.
What was your GPA?
My GPA? It was a 90.
A 90?
It was a 90. And plus, I kept getting A's and B's, goddamn, on the principal role, all types of shit.
And it's just kind of like, oh, so you can be definitely racially profiled in those settings. And it's kind of mind-boggling, because institutions are supposed to be very liberal leaning. Like, they're supposed to be very open-minded, very like diversity, equity, and inclusion focused, especially like in time periods like this. But it is like, a disappointment to come across motherfuckers that sit and think like,
yes, definitely.
I do want to talk to you about mentorship, because I can't lie, I wouldn't have made it out of college if it weren't for the black female mentors that I had in college. I still have a phenomenal mentor by the name of Dr. Rashida Forbes, phenomenal black woman, and she is actually the provost of diversity, equity, and inclusion at Mississippi State. And she just took a liking to me because, I'm loud and outspoken, but I'm very work-focused and I'm problem-solving oriented. And she just kind of took me through her wing. And I've seen so many examples of these black women in institutions like an HBCU or a PWI really gravitate to help uplifting. So, what are some of the things that they taught you?
While I was doing my practicum class.
So what's a practicum class?
So with my major, I have to go out and get field experience in order to graduate. I had to get 480 hours.
What you was out there doing in the field, little soldier?
In the daycare, we could pick any clinical setting to go to. So I chose the development center on campus. But even though that's not what I want to go into, I still went to the state, because that's where my major starts now, the child development, child care. Yeah. So while I was down there, I had the opportunity to meet Miss Graham. Miss Graham was the nutrition teacher, and she was also the cook for the daycare center. Miss Graham was going through pure hell with administration, but she still cared for it. She still made sure we were eating. We left our time for lunch. Nobody was messing with us upstairs. Nothing was going on. She always had our backs. And that really taught me to, I don't want to say push things, let people push me over, but it really taught me to, if I want to see a change, I have to stay there to make it. She was the main one who wanted us, me and the other students, to go put these reports in for these administrators who were doing these things to us. She was there with us typing every email. She was there on the phone with us before class started, giving us the rundown of everything that's going on. She made sure we know what type of atmosphere we were coming into. And I'm really grateful for that because I would have definitely lost my shit if it wasn't for Miss Brown.
Same thing with Miss Rashida too, man. And it's such a blessing because I wouldn't take a critique from anyone if it was not from her. And she helped me learn a lot about myself. Like, I remember one time I was telling Miss Rashida about these niggas. I was like, Miss Rashida, X, Y, and Z. She was like, Morgan. That's how she talked right there. She said, Morgan, you need to learn how to give out more mercy and grace. And I was like, these niggas don't need no mercy and grace. That's what Jesus here for. That's not my goal. And she also taught me one of the key things, like under her leadership, I learned so much about leadership, and I won so many awards through my leadership up under her leadership, and that was a blessing. But the one thing that always stuck with me that she taught me was that a group, a business, or organization, if it starts to fall, it'll start crumbling from the inside, from the top layer. And like seeing that in those types of spaces is what taught me what a good work ethic looks like. Like Miss Rashida, she would do like 10 business calls a day. She was constantly doing webinars, seminars. She was constantly coming up with new programs, looking for grant money. And like she had worked herself up to like being the third in command of the university. Like that's a really big deal. And she was breaking those generational curses that she was walking through. But she told me she gravitated towards me was because she was like, Morgan, you remind me so much of myself. She go, when my husband first met me, he wasn't sure if he wanted to be with me because I was so loud. And he said I had to work on my attitude and my vulgar. And then, like, now she married her husband, a superintendent at Starbucks School District. Like, they a power couple in their own right. And so, like, seeing those women in them positions, it's like, okay, well, what would Rashida do? What would Big Shida do? I used to call her Rashida the Body. And what would Miss Rashida do? And kind of just going on that. But, like, you know, if you're not in environments like that, you'll never see that. And you know, Black women in leadership get such a negative reputation. Like, and it was refreshing to be in those places and in those spaces and seeing like a Black woman in a very high leadership position do her job the way she was supposed to do it. And it wasn't because someone was forcing her to do it. It was because that's what she wanted to do and she did it well.
Yes. If you're going to the HBCU, I would say you definitely need to find someone to talk to.
If you go in the college period, you need a mentor if you want to be successful. Even if you're not in college, like if you're doing a clothing brand design or anything, you need to find a mentor because you need someone to bounce ideas off of and to give you counsel.
Yes, because even though it's just your first time being in this space, it's not, someone else has already been there. They can tell you what to expect, what not to do, what to do. And I feel like that's very needed, even in like, especially in this time period, because we don't know what's going to go on. We need to lean on and elder, someone with wisdom and experience, young people.
Yes, because them niggas, they went through so much, and it's a weird space because we are currently living through history. So like we are going through the same thing them jokers went through during the Civil Rights Movement, the removal of DEI. They taking away books and stuff from the library. Girl, did you see? It's a state, I want to say Idaho, Oklahoma, one of them purebred white states, and they done closed the public library on the kids. The library in the school, they got a sign outside of it: "Do not enter." They not allowed to go in the library. So like we're living through history, and they regressing us back. And that's what they gonna do if they pass Project 2025. They gonna regress us all the way back to the Civil Rights Movement. And you know, we need those baby boomers because they literally were our age when they were going through it. But we have to take what they did and evolve it and make it fitting for the times. And I think that's also where baby boomers fail when it comes to this new movement, is because they want to do the same thing they did back in the 60s. They want to get in their motherfucking kitchen. They want to sit at that damn dining room and they want to sing "We Shall Overcome." And we trying to sing "They Not Like Us." So, like, it's just, again, it's refreshing, but, you know, that counsel and leadership and guidance is necessary in order to, like, develop professionally in a collegiate setting.
And develop person, for me, especially personal growth.
That's beautiful. Final question of the afternoon, Porsha. What advice would you give to other first-generation Black students who are about to start their college journey? Are there any specific strategies or mindsets that you found particularly helpful?
For one, apply to those scholarships. Apply to every scholarship you see. You can reuse the same little personal statement letter for every scholarship. Secondly, go find your mentor, whether it's your advisor or just someone in an office building. You need someone to talk to at the school on an adult level. And I would definitely say, put yourself first. College is hard. Being alone in your dorm, you're far away from home. You have no friends. You have to put yourself first. And even if you're close to home, be in a different setting around other people that's your same age, you're definitely going to be off track. So you need to put yourself first. Know when to stop and know when to go.
I love it. So, yes, I agree. You need a mentor, and a great way to gauge it is if she intimidates you the first time you meet her, but you are in awe of her, then you probably need to make her your mentor. And not all of my mentors were Black. Like, I've had a lot of white men as mentors, and because I was a Black student at a PWI, it was extremely rare for them to come across like a Black woman who was extremely, like, when I was in college, I was a motherfucker. And I was the smartest in any room, and that was always my goal. And I guess that's another piece of advice is, like, always aspire to be the smartest person in any room that you step into. And that's the mindset I carry everywhere. But also having the understanding that the loudest person in the room is not always the smartest, because I feel like people see that specifically, like when they go to law school and stuff, they run into motherfuckers that talk that big talk and shit, and they don't be knowing what the fuck they be trying to do. Make sure that your work is as equal as the shit that you talk. And mine always was compatible, right? When it comes to scholarships, I completely agree with you. When it comes to scholarships, you need to be applying for scholarships the semester before you graduate. So like that December, January, February period,
you need to be applying.
You need to be applying, but you need to be prepared before you start applying. So start preparing during Thanksgiving break, during Christmas break, and have your statement of purpose. Go find somebody. It's somebody in your neighborhood in which has gone to college and can help you write a statement of purpose, help you get a resume, CV, a curriculum vitae prepared, like have all your paperwork together. What was the last point you made?
I think that was it.
No, it's not. It was not it. But I just want to tell people to persevere, like for real.
It was focused on yourself.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. Put yourself first, like for real. When I got to college, first generation college students were the first to drop out, especially my freshman year. And I also learned that oftentimes the people that drop out of school, they never come back. And like, you'll think in your head, I'm gonna come back. But when life get to life, bitch, you might not be able to come back. So stay where you are and work until it's just not for you and it's undeniable. But do the work. Get your ass up, go to class. It's not a fashion show. I think that's what niggas have problems with. Do they really be doing their fashion show stuff at the HBCU?
Yes,
They be getting down
like while I was walking around in Balenciagas, I'm finna call financial aid.
I want to call financial aid. What we get Balenciaga money for?
Like, what you call them? Lavish? Like,
DHK.
True, but still, like, be fucking for real.
That's how it was when I was in school for fashion. Like, every day was a fashion show. And, you know, I was eating them hoes up at the time.
True.
But, you know, I'm chewing now, bitch. I don't know, college is a great experience. Like, you know, we in this time period where people is like, college is not necessary. You don't need to go to college. All these rappers and moguls, they didn't go to college. And I'm like, that is pure utter bullshit. Why would you try to convince a group of people not to go to school? Because niggas is stupid.
Yeah.
Especially these niggas around here in Mississippi.
And no one can take your education from you. Like, I can't unlearn what I just learned.
Girl, that's what James Baldwin said. He said, once you see it, you want to be able to unsee it.
Yeah.
And I always credit my PWI for the amount of knowledge that I have, for my leadership skills and the way I go about doing stuff. Because if I hadn't went to college, I would be probably somewhere stupid, pregnant, working at Walmart, just like every single one of my high school peers. And, you know, I don't want to work in no factory. I don't belong in Toyota, baby. I don't belong in Yamaha. So, like, you know, if you want a better life for yourself and that don't involve selling coochie or drugs, go to school and make the best out of that opportunity. And I just love the fact that Black women are the most highest degree earners. Like, not just within our race, but just like over the board. And also, that's where my hustle, like, be observant when you go to college. When I got to school, I started meeting so many Black girls that had businesses. Them bitches was selling eyelashes. They were learning how to do micro links, micro logs. They was supposed to be doing digital editing for businesses. Photography, like, they're so creative, and you'll see that and it'll motivate you. You like, damn, well, I gotta do what these motherfuckers doing. I'm not doing nothing. So be observant. Don't follow the wave. Create your own path for you. Yeah, period.
In March for you to get a degree and chill. Barrett Rustin didn't organize so you could clap for him. Black folks didn't pick cotton so you could look cute in a black robe. Shirley Chisholm didn't run for president so you could run away from adversity. Nat Turner didn't lead a rebellion so you could be afraid of your own voice. James Baldwin didn't write beautifully so you could be afraid of his words. George T. French, George Tenacious French, didn't come to CAU because he had nowhere else to go.
Shout out to the slaves.
Yeah, shout out to the slaves. You feel me? Shout out to Harriet Tubman.
Shout out to she's a real nigga.
Yeah, shout out to the Mississippi nggers. Yeah, shout out to the Mississippi niggas. Yeah, big penitentiary tractor dragging ass niggas. Yeah. And they don't talk loud. They whisper. Dangerous niggas whisper.
And shout out again to all those people who hate my guts.
Y'all are doing a justice and an effort to the world. Keep breaking these men down one at a time.
Shout out LGBTQ.
You are obsessed and sick.
And we are back with the Big Black Shout Out, the blackest shout out in the world. For those who do not know, the Big Black Shout Out is an opportunity to help circulate the Black dollar back into our communities and for audience members to explore Black-owned hidden gems. So, Porsha, baby, who you gonna shout out today?
The first person would be my homegirl. She does hair, nails, makeup, tat.
Doing tattoo?
This girl.
What's the baby name first?
Ariel.
Yeah,
she did like 4 of my tattoos, and they're perfect. Her Instagram is ARIANTAEXPERINCE, Ariente Experience. She does my braids over my locks. She did my makeup for my senior portraits. And the next thing would be...
Well, shout out to that bitch sound talented.
Yeah.
Well, she ordered her tattoo gun on Amazon.
I think so.
That's powerful. I love that bitch making money all across the world. God is blessing all the beautiful, talented bitches in America.
And the next would be a program for first-gen or Black students on the Wild E. McNair program. They will fund you to get up to your PhD. if you go to any college, any state-funded college in Mississippi, they will fund for you to do research, fund for you to go out of state on any conference.
What's they called again?
Ronald E. McNair program.
The Ronald E. McNair program.
Yes.
Oh, well, y'all better get to that bag. You know, that'd be the only reason why a lot of people go to college, so they can get the refund checks. Anybody else you want to give a shout out to? Well, shout out to those Black-owned businesses and programs. Now, if you or somebody that you know would like a shout out, needs more promotion, make sure you are reaching out to me at the Afrocentric Podcast at gmail.com. That's Afrocentric Podcast at gmail.com. And we are back with the Big Black Shout Out, the blackest shout out in the world. For those who do not know, the Big Black Shout Out is an opportunity to help circulate the Black dollar back into our communities and for audience members to explore Black-owned hidden gems. So, Porsha, baby, who you gonna shout out today?
The first person would be my homegirl. She does hair, nails, makeup, tech.
Doing tattoo?
This girl.
What's the baby name first?
Ariel. Yeah, she can be like with 4 of my tattoos, and they're perfect. Her Instagram is AriantaExperince, Ariante Experience. She does my braids over my locks. She did my makeup for my senior portraits. And the next thing would be...
Well, shout out to that bitch sound talented.
Yeah.
Well, she ordered her tattoo gun on Amazon.
I think so.
It's powerful. I love that bitch is making money all across the world. God is blessing all the beautiful, talented bitches in America.
And the next would be a program for first-gen or Black students on the Ronald E. McNair program. They will fund you to get up to your PhD. If you go to any college, any state-funded college in Mississippi, they will fund for you to do research, fund for you to go out of state on any conference.
What's they called again?
Ronald E. McNair program.
The Ronald E. McNair program.
Yeah.
Oh, well, y'all better get to that bag. You know, that'd be the only reason why a lot of people go to college, so they can get the refund checks. Anybody else you want to give a shout out to? Well, shout out to those Black-owned businesses and programs. Now, if you or somebody that you know would like a shout out, needs more promotion, make sure you are reaching out to me at the Afrocentric Podcast at gmail.com. That's Afrocentric Podcast at gmail.com. Yes, Porsha. I really enjoyed this conversation. I was really excited when you told me what topic you wanted to talk about, first-generation college students, and it speaks so closer to my heart because it's something that I definitely not went through but had to endure. So I love this episode, the hopes and the dreams of the slaves, because that's what we is. Praise the Lord. Now, Porsha, before I let you go, is there anything that you would like to say to the Black community?
To the Black community, we need to stick together, especially in this time. Like, we know what our people are facing, so we need to definitely stick together.
Thank you, the beautiful and incomparable Porsha B. Now, I want to thank you, Porsha, for choosing to be Afrocentric today. For my listening audience, I want to thank you guys so much for choosing to be Afrocentric. Please remember that Black lives matter. Make sure you listen and protect Black women. And remember that the only thing that you must do in this lifetime is be Black and die. So remember that here at the Afrocentric Podcast, we're just civilized people having civilized conversations. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
See you.
What you thinking?
That mud cloth and like kind of, cover up the girls.
Does my sexiness offend you?
No, I'm just saying, does it come as a surprise?
That I dance like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Lord, here we go. Her name is Angelo. Angelo, does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard, leaving behind and nights of terror and fear. I rise into a daybreak that is wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that the ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise